Let's talk about all of the ins and outs of informational interviewing. We're going to tackle a number of different questions. What is an informational interview? How do I set up an informational interview? How do I prepare? What happens during my meeting? What do I do after the interview? So let's start with what is an informational interview? An informational interview is a common way to gather information about various careers by speaking with professionals in the field. Through informational interviews, you can explore career paths and job opportunities, as well as gain advice and insight into career industries and companies. Keep in mind that informational interviews are not about asking for favors or a job. They're more an occasion for you to learn about an individual's career path and profession in a way that may inform your own journey. Informational interviews can help in a number of different ways. They can help you make initial decisions about your major and career path, learn about different positions in an area of interest and meet professionals working in those roles, discover new areas of study or career options you didn't even know existed, get a sense of the job market, make connections with professionals at specific organizations, learn how to prepare for a specific role or field, hear firsthand the realities of working within a particular field, industry, or position. And you can't find this online. So let's talk about how to set up an informational interview. I know it sounds terrifying, but I promise it's not as scary as you think. People love to give advice and love to share their stories. Professionals have been in your shoes before and they're happy to return the favor. The worst case scenario is that your contact is too busy to meet with you. So, how do we set up an informational interview? First, you want to identify a professional in the field. When beginning the search for someone with whom you can conduct an informational interview, a great place to start is your career community. A career community is a group of professionals linked together by a common industry area and includes your peers, your career community advisor through career education at Wellesley, alumni, employers, faculty, and others. Also consider talking to advisors, professors, and other connections you have on campus, as well as friends, family, members, coaches, and coworkers, and/or supervisors from past jobs, internships, or volunteer positions. Even if these individuals are not within your career community of interest, they may have connections to people in your field. You can also take advantage of electronic resources that are available to you. The Wellesley Hive is a digital platform exclusively for the Wellesley community where you can mentor or find mentorship. The Hive is a platform where alumni and students can ask questions and seek guidance, coach and inspire, and find paths to professional aspirations during one-time conversations or through more long-term mentorship. And LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a free online professional networking platform with more than 450 million users worldwide and over 25,000 active Wellesley alumni. LinkedIn is a valuable resource for networking, exploring potential career paths, and building your professional presence online. Once you have identified someone you want to speak with, send a concise message explaining who you are, why you're contacting them, and what you hope to learn. Ask if they're available for a 15 to 30-minute conversation over the phone, through video call, or in person to get information and advice about their career, field, or organization. If you're reaching out to someone you have not interacted with prior, allow 1 to 2 weeks for a response before following up. So you might be thinking, okay, I want to send a concise message, but what does that look like? Let's look at an example email. You'll see here in the subject line, informational interview request, simple, very direct. Good afternoon. My name is, I'm a second year student at Wellesley. I'm in the process of researching careers. One of the paths I'm exploring is chemistry research. This person is introducing who they are and a little bit about themselves. This person writes, I'm interested in your experience in the pharmaceutical industry and would appreciate learning more about your experience and career path since graduation. I was wondering if we could set up a brief meeting sometime this month so I can learn more about what you do and how you got to be in your position. Again, closing with a polite, Please let me know if this is something you have time for and your availability in the coming weeks. This is a great example of a concise message covering all of the important details that you could send to ask about an informational interview. So, now let's talk about how to prepare for the interview. Before the interview starts, you should be ready to lead the meeting since you're doing the interviewing. Research the person you're meeting with and look at their organization's website. Write down questions about the professional's career path and or their company. Prepare a written list of questions prior to the meeting to bring with you or have available if you're speaking by phone or video. Consider setting some specific goals for your interview so that you ask questions to get the information you're hoping to learn. For example, what do you most hope to learn from this conversation? What decision or decisions are you hoping this conversation will help you to make? Now, again, you might be thinking, what are some good questions to ask during an informational interview? So let's go over a ton of sample questions by category. First, we'll start with career journey related questions. Did you know you wanted to be in this line of work when you were a student at Wellesley? What have been the most unexpected twists and turns throughout your career that got you to where you are today? What was your major? How did your Wellesley education prepare you for this field? And so on. I'll give you a chance to jot down some questions that speak to you or take a screenshot. Now let's look at questions related to the nature of the work. What are the specific responsibilities of your role? Describe a typical day or week. What are the toughest issues that you deal with? What part of this work do you find most rewarding? How does the work cycle change throughout the year? Questions related to work qualifications. What kind of training or education is required? What skills are most essential in this career? What kinds of prior experiences are absolutely essential? Are there any professional organizations you find helpful? Questions related to work environment. What type of setting, hours, atmosphere is expected? How much flexibility do you have in terms of hours of work, dress, vacation? How often do you work alone? How often do you work in teams? How do you describe the culture at your organization? How does this organization differ from competitors? What opportunities for professional development does your company offer? If you were not in your current job, what other positions would you consider? Questions related to work entry. How do I find out about internships or job openings in this field? Are there any strategies that work best? Are there any networks, listservs, or other professional groups that you are a part of? Do not ask the person you're speaking with for an internship or job. If they bring either up, then you're welcome to engage, but you should not be the one to ask. Questions related to advancement and industry outlook. Do people normally move to another organization or do they move up internally? If you went to graduate school, how did you navigate that decision? How has it helped you in your career? How rapidly is the present career field growing? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Questions related to salary. Do not ask them for their salary. If interested, ask about general ranges for their line of work, where entry level roles typically start, etc., but never specifically their salary. Some other questions you could ask: what have I not asked you about today that I should have? Can we stay in touch if I ever have additional questions? Can I connect with you on the Hive or LinkedIn? Now that we've gone over a range of different questions you could ask, let's talk about some tips for success during your meeting. First, be on time and prepared. Arrive on time in professional dress, if in person or doing a video call, and be ready to introduce yourself and ask your questions. If you're running late, communicate. Traffic and technology mishaps happen. Call, text, or email the person you're interviewing to let them know when to expect you. Bring your written list of questions, along with paper and pen for taking notes. Show your interest in and enthusiasm for the conversation. Don't ask for a job. Remember, your goal is to learn more information to help you in your career exploration. Have a copy of your resume just in case. You won't want to proactively give this to your interviewee, but in the case that they ask to see your resume and offer feedback, you'll be prepared. Don't be afraid to ask the person you're speaking with to connect you to someone else following your conversation. After your interview, you may want to get additional information from another professional in a different type of work, and they might know someone to introduce you to. Now let's talk about what we do after your interview. First, you want to take a moment to reflect. Immediately following the informational interview, take a few moments to jot down a few notes about your experience. Asking yourself a few simple questions can be incredibly helpful when planning next steps, such as whether to pursue job shadowing, conduct more research about the industry, or even prepare an internship or job application. So, some sample questions you could ask yourself to reflect are: what did I learn about the industry and or the professional's career path? What surprised or excited me the most? What was the most helpful piece of advice I received? Am I still interested in this career path? What concerns do I have about this line of work? Can I see myself enjoying this line of work? Why? Does this path capitalize on my strengths and align with my values? What skills do I need to gain or further develop to succeed in this field? What information am I still missing? Now that the interview is over, what are your next steps? We encourage you to make an appointment with your college career mentor or career community advisor to discuss your reflections further. Next, we don't want to forget to send a thank you card or email within 24 hours, thanking them for their time and noting key takeaways from the conversation and how they helped you. And lastly, keep in touch. Don't be afraid to keep in touch as you progress through your career. Now that you've made the connection, this person is part of your ongoing network. And that about sums it up for informational interviews today. A reminder that you can speak with your college career mentor or a career community advisor at any time as you think about reaching out to professionals about informational interviewing or in debriefing an informational interviewing experience.